Hello, good evening, and welcome to those who are tuning live and for all those that have joined us here at Kononia. Am I saying it right? Kononia. Oh my goodness. I had to look it up and find out that it means fellowship.
The mic is moving. Hold
And
on. Hi, everyone that's watching live. We are going to get started right now. Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you. Thank you so very much for all those that are joining us live and for all those that are present that have come to fellowship with us and to discuss next steps for TPS. My name is Naomi Esther Blamier. I am here along with Christine San and Jules. We know that Christine is the individual that God birthed this through to set up these town halls and for us to really meet our community where they are. And it is an honor for us to join her on this journey. We also have the one and only Nukadi Haitian attorney Ronald Surin from Champagne and Surin Law Firm. We have Monsieur Jean Castor, who is a financial advisor and also owns a mortgage brokerage firm, and he is here to talk about all things finance. And last but not least, nous gagnons Maître Sandra Cheffrère, who has been on this journey along with myself and Christine, and it's really an honor for us to be here. Now, what is Next Steps all about? Tonight, we're going to talk about 8 steps, really 7, right? The last step is really a directive on how you can engage and how you can ensure that others learn about their rights, they learn about the steps, and they can make the best decision for their family. Nous connaissons que dans le moment ça, on a passé un moment très difficile avec l'administration ça concernant TPS. Nous gagnons Christine Sanajul qui était venue avec idée pour nous commencer faire town hall ça pour nous assurer que le peuple nous gagne information que a besoin pour yo ka prendre bonne décision pour tête yo. Dans moment ça nous allons introduire panel nous qui va dire nous qui est yo et qui ça yo fait dans communauté. And at this time we are going to say thank you for the Reverend Pastor Jones and his administrator, Minister Dexter, who is here, and his staff, and all those that are present. Thank you so very much, Minister Derek. Thank you so very much for opening your doors and understanding that immigration is not just a one community's responsibility, but it's all our responsibility. And when one community is going through difficulty or going through challenge, we should all work together to do our part. And so, sir, I salute you, Reverend. I thank you for the work that you're doing, and I thank you for opening your doors to ensure that here in this area we can communicate these next steps and people can ultimately make the best decision for themselves and their family. At this time, we're going to begin with our introductions, beginning with avocat Sandra Cheffrère. Madame Cheffrère, please take the mic.
I think it's on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Yes, my name is Sandra Cheffrère, and I'm so honored to be a part of this event for many different reasons. You know, sometimes I talk about being the child of immigrants, forgetting that I'm an immigrant myself because I came here when I was 5 years old. And I was also undocumented in the United States for almost 10, 12 years. It wasn't until I was in high school thinking about where am I going to go to college, what I'm going to do with my future, and a recruiter from the military came and asked me, did I have a green card? I was like, what's that? I don't know what it is. And then he was like, well, if you don't have one, you're not going to be able to do anything. You can't even go to college. And so I went home and I told my mother, I was like, listen, the man said I need a green card. You need to figure out how I can get one, okay? And fortunately for me, and that's why I want to say that all Republicans are not bad. Because fortunately for me, at the time that I got my green card, Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States. Now, there's a lot of things you can say about Ronald Reagan, but when it came to immigration, they did a lot of good things. I got my green card through a Cuban Haitian migrant program. And then I was able to become a citizen of the United States afterwards, right? So the position that the administration is taking on immigration isn't really indicative of like Republicans overall. So we're going to talk more about that. And I'm also a practicing attorney, but we have an attorney here that's going to talk about all the things. And I really want to speak more about that experience of being an undocumented person.
Thank you, thank you. And I believe that every time I hear you speak about it, I know so many people that are watching realize, you know what? If she could have gone through that and she is a practicing attorney in the United States, there is hope. So we honor the fact that you've chosen to share your story because it's giving others hope. Thank you, Sandra.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Jean Castor. I am with American Mortgage. I've been practicing in the mortgage industry and real estate for over 25 years. I have done a number of loans for TPS holders, and this situation here really affects not only me, my clients, and everyone else that's sitting here, and as Naomi mentioned, everyone that's in the community, the church members, because I actually have a client, a pastor of mine, who was telling me last week that many of his church members have left. So it's becoming a problem for a lot of people. And I too was once undocumented. I came here very late as well, and I didn't really know what a green card was as well. But we learned about it. But back then, as she mentioned, as my chauffeur mentioned, it was easier back then. Now it's a different story. But I don't want to get into politics. We're here for a different cause. We're trying to bring out the information so that those who are in the situation where they may be deported or don't have the status that they need to have to stay here, we're here to help them out.
Thank you, Mr. Castor. Mr. Sue.
Thank you. My name is Ronald Seren, and I'm an American. I had the arrogance to say that once in court to say, I'm as American as George Washington. And the judge was looking at me funny, but he could not say anything. Because at the end of the day, I came here at the age of 17, and within 18 months, I was in the service, serving the country. And subsequently, I went to college, and Pastor John can relate. My mother said I didn't raise a child in the church to become a fighter, to kill people, so I went to college to study political science. He said, oh no, not a politician. You cannot be Christian and politician. Okay, Mom, I'll go to law school. He said, oh no, not another life. And so it's been a long journey. But at the end of the day, either as a soldier, a politician, a lawyer, even as a minister as well, I am, and my mother is pleased now. But the thread that all of them together is the desire, the devotion to service. I serve the country, I serve the community, I serve my people, and that's part of the fiber of my being. So I find my joy in service, and I do not want to give you my testimony. I become a servant. It was one day I had the dream that I passed somebody on the highway who was stranded on the side of the highway. Then the Spirit told me to stop and then to give assistance to the person, just to find that the thread of my tire was peeling off. So it's done to me that if I kept driving, I could have had a blown up. But the fact that I stopped helping someone, then I find my peace, my joy, my life, and by helping others. So that's what the Spirit has revealed to me. So we keep fighting for our people, because at the end of the day, at the time we have here, people are living with fear, confusion, and really terror. And I see families are about to fall apart, and people, a couple, they both have TPS and they have a mortgage and they have children in college, so it's really tough out there. It's very unhuman what's going on at this time, and I'm glad to be in the house of the father of the strongest advocate, Senator Sewell Jones, who really fight for the for the community. He never waver. He never surrender his integrity. And then we in the right place at this moment.
Amen.
Amen. Let's put an
Right.
amen right there.
I don't know how to follow any of that. Hey everyone, I'm Christine Sandin Jules. I'm just a community advocate. I am Haitian American, born here, but sometimes I feel like I was still raised in Haiti because the way my grandmother ran this household, wow. But I do this, I fight for my people because my grandmother came here fleeing an abusive relationship, pregnant, and I just think of the opportunities because of that choice. All of our family has been able to be here and thrive and really manifest the American dream. I am not here just as an advocate on this panel. Normally we have FLIC, we have a representative from FLIC that comes out and talks about the resources that they offer. FLIC is an organization, stands for a Florida Immigrant Coalition. And so today I will be speaking on some of the resources that they have. I did a few trainings with them, and they've really helped our migrants, really helped our migrants. So I want to thank FLIC, thank Tessa, even though they could not be here, I will be speaking on that today.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to dive right into our first step. And the first step is consulting with an immigration attorney. No matter what you do not know what is available to you until you consult with an attorney. And at this time, we're going to ask Metsuyen, why is it so important for you to have that first step, consult with an attorney to identify what your status is? So, première étape là, c'est faire une consultation avec un avocat qui licencié que ou ka aller sous the Florida bar ou ka wè noni ou ka wè licence li pour connaître moun ça c'est un avocat qui licencié et qui nous ka dit état de Floride reconnaît li pour le faire travail droit. Monsieur Siren.
Thank you, Dr. Blemire. It is not an understatement to say that it's legal suicide not to contact an immigration attorneys when you deal with immigration. What people fail to understand, immigration is the second most complex branch in the legal field after taxes. It's so have so many threads, so many pieces that need to be put together in order for somebody to find relief, meaning to find legal status. It's not just you fill out an application, boom, and then you get a green card. It's a very difficult process that has so many pieces that need to be put together. So it's unfortunate people just take it so lightly and have just other people fill out a form for them just to find themselves in a worse situation than they were before. Because sometimes the application you submit, the statement you made are detrimental and they are consequential to people. So if the least somebody could do for himself, consult it with an attorney. You don't have to hire one, you may not be able to afford, but you need to invest that in yourself to contact an immigration attorney because it can be so complicated. I have people come into my office because, hey, I came in this country at the same time with this guy. He has his green card. I want to have mine too. He just think that, you know, if he follows this footstep, it's going to be the same thing. And then I don't know who mentioned that last time. It probably was Sandra, but it's so true that two people who step foot in the country at the same way, the same time, the same moment, and that's the only thing they have in common. From that point on, it just goes to different direction. So you cannot assume that because somebody has certain relief, and then it's the same thing is possible for you. There are so many pieces put together. It's like a puzzle. And if you do not know how to maneuver all those different pieces, you can harm yourself. And even today, it's hurt me to know that there are people who had relieved a couple of months, last year, before the new administration. Had there were so many steps they could do.
ensemble et puis yo fait deux chemins différents. So pas une seule situation qui même. Donc c'est seul un avocat qui pratique immigration qui kachita avec donneur, avec histoire là pour dire mais qui ça qui bon pour même. Deuxième bagaille il dit que ici à part de droit taxation, droit immigration c'est un droit qui plus complexe. Donc si que moun n'a pas gagné des années depuis moun n'a pratiqué, moun n'a vraiment pas gagné capacité pour délivrer une solution qui plus bon pour eux-mêmes. Christine expliquait que dimanche passé nous t'ai fait un forum, nous gagnons un monde qui c'est un pasteur qui vient qui dit que il explique l'histoire et pendant qu'il finit expliquer l'histoire avocat fait connaît parce que lui c'est un pasteur gagne une possibilité pour lui changer statut lui. Il était choqué, il pas connaît ça. Donc s'il vous plaît, première étape faire consultation. Now, nous connaissons que tout le monde qui cap suivre nous connaissons toujours par numéro de téléphone mettre sur parce que le cabinet a fait consultation gratis. Tandis ça me dit oui, consultation seulement gratis. Donc à la fin on a bail tout numéro de téléphone et puis Christine expliqué que flic qui c'est organisation Immigration Coalition qui a des années qui a fait même travail dans la communauté, il n'a pas jamais changé. Chaque mercredi à 2h l'après-midi, il y a une consultation légale. Dans le moment ça, on a passé à Sandra ou M. Castor qui t'a remis au bagage.
Are we moving to the next
No.
step?
No, just if you wanted to add anything.
Non, sous consultation, d'accord, tout ça, médecin dit parce que c'est réellement important. Parce que il y a plusieurs, et puis on a parlé sur ça dans le programme, ça, il y a un pile de gens qui ont un papier statut, il y a des gens qui ont résidé, et puis ils ne pas jamais connaît si ils ne pas parler avec un avocat qui pratique l'immigration. Nous ne pas juste dire qu'il n'y a pas d'avocat, right? Parce que même l'homme malade, ou juste parler dans qu'il n'y a pas de docteur, ou il y a un docteur pour maladie ou gagner. So, si vous avez un problème d'immigration, c'est avec un avocat qui fait travail immigration, c'est avec lui pour parler. Et puis, là, il fait consultation. Tendez ça, avocat Abdou, il a raison. Parce que pas de raison pour nous dire bagay ou pas qu'à faire, parce que l'argent à payer nous pas bon. Pas de monde qui veut vraiment prendre chance pour bon mauvais service, parce que vous avez perdu licence pour ça. So, si avocat dit ça pour faire, tendez ça l'Abdou. Et puis, quand l'autre bagaille moun remet fait, yo cherche tout avocat yo qui dans Florida qui bail consultation gratis, yo a dans tout officier et puis yo croit parce que yo gen parler avec même 10-15 avocats konya yo comprendre loi immigration et puis yo ka fait travail là pour compte yo. Moi dou pas faire ça parce que vraiment toujours grand pile bagaille qui différent et puis très important pour si avocat explique aux situations faire consultation avec lui et puis investir dans pays pour qu'il avec case là.
Say that in English real quick.
Oh,
Well, let me just summarize.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
In summary, Sandra stated that it's very important for you to choose an immigration attorney who has been practicing immigration. Just the way if you're sick, you're not just going to go to any doctor. You're going to go to a doctor that specifically specializes in the condition that you have. So please do not make the bad choice of going to an attorney and then not listening to what their advice or figuring out, oh, I'm going to go to this attorney, that attorney, and now that I've gone to 5 attorneys, I know immigration law and I know what is best for me. Do not do that. This is your future. This is your destiny. This is your legacy for you, your children, your grandchildren. Please make the right decision the first time.
And I want to make a point on that. And the reason why I say that is like, I learned how to explain complex situations in a very simple way, right? Because if I go and I'm talking legalese to you, telling like, oh, this, that, and you know, an arriving alien and the difference between someone with or without inspection, you're not going to understand exactly what I'm talking about because I'm using all of this legal language. So we explain things in basic ways, right? crap. We learn to do that because we don't want to talk above you, and we also don't try to talk below you either, but we also need to make sure we're communicating something that you understand. But that doesn't necessarily mean because you understand what I'm telling you that you can actually do it by yourself.
Thank you, thank you. Now, that leads us right into the next step, is after you have gone to your consultation, and we specifically stated 2 ways you can obtain a consultation without cost, now you must choose an attorney, you must hire that attorney, and you must go into contract with that attorney. Do not make the mistake of saying, oh, I went to go speak to him, he agreed, and then you never signed anything, there was never a deposit, and then you assume that he is working on your behalf when there was never any contract. And again, we're going to go back to Maître Surin, la dit en créole, la dit en anglais, pour qui ça li important, après fin faire consultation, que ou dit avocat, moi vle pour représenter.
Well, very good. So when we say immigration is complex, there are so many branches. Sometimes you have to deal with ICE, sometimes you deal with USCIS, sometimes you deal with the immigration court. They have different entities, they do different things, they have different standards. But one thing for sure, if you're dealing with the court, immigration court, nobody else can help you. I don't care how good the person is, do not allow anybody who's not a lawyer to even touch your papers or anything. They can help you fill out the residence paper, work permit, and all kind of things. But when it's come to court, there are strict standards and procedures. You have to know them, you have to be able to follow them, and you have to have your name on everything as somebody who's authorized, recognized by law to do those things. So if you're dealing with court, pas occuper ni pasteur, ni docteur, ni ingénieur, you're not dans pas qu'à aider.
Not the cousin?
Si tu regardes on se dit bon, mais tel monde dit tel bagay.
Oui.
Ou qui j'en fait avocat dit ça là parce que ça dit pas bon parce que cousin là puis remel passo. So dans ce cas, li plus bon pour sa cousine là dit le cousin là gagne plus intérêt en jeu, so livre le temps des cousins voisins ba ça ou bien dit gon l'autre monde qui te fait même bagay la même bagay ça passé. En plus yo vinn yo dit mon cher mettre la mine fait asile. See, it's like you go to the doctor, I'm here for surgery. I want to have a surgery on my leg. For docteur a get analyser situation non pour connaître est-ce que ça vraiment ou besoin au lieu get en bail docteur a prescription mais qui sauve les. En plus le monde get tendance pour faire ça. Le tendez ou le garder cas, c'est pour un cas moun a besoin d'asile, il a besoin de représentation dans le tribunal, il a besoin de défense, son moun qui n'a removal proceeding, il a besoin de tout bail ça, mais lui même ni tout, ou il a besoin de permis de travail parce qu'il n'a pas besoin non, parce qu'il a besoin de travail dans le pays, a fait pas bon, fait je nous permis de travail. Mais elle pas comprendre que l'application asile li fait qui pour faire permis de travail là, il y a des conséquences, il y a pour le rendre avec elle. Songez on permis de travail son bagage qui secondaire avec une autre application, li pas pour compte li. So ça veut dire gon l'autre bagage son bagage temporaire li en attendant ou exploiter, yon l'autre option, l'autre application. Puis qu'on comprend nous dit bon moi même m'bral acheter une machine mais pas machine n'a vraiment m'vle non, c'est volant parce que volant bien belle, m'da me kembe yon nan même. That's just like, we know that would be very stupid. But some people take the approach that they want a work permit, but they don't care about the asylum, they don't care about the application for the process. I've even experienced somebody, Sandra, who's judge, Judge Coleman, she used to be that, the fairest judge ever. And she told my client that I'm going to grant your case for asylum, but because your points are not clear, I'm going to reset it for 30 days to go get your fingerprint clear. And then the man said, no, but I want my work permit. Like, fool, you don't understand? If you get the asylum, you don't have to worry about work permit.
And you get a green card in a year.
Exactly, but sometimes people want the immediate benefits without looking at the long-term consequences. And that's have an impact. Même sans question de vos
Non, ça va.
You got it.
Ou dit bien, mais parce que si ou dit comme ça que là que moun nan fin fait consultation gratis, faut li entrer dans contrat avec avocat. Ensuite, avocat a gon frais que li pral mande ou pour payer parce que li gon travail que li pral fait pour vous, un travail très spécifique.
It's an investment.
Yes, problem ki gen, an pil moun rele tet yo met. Son terme, moun servi avel souvent met la ka vle di tout ba ou gen wa professeur l'école ou met ba sa yo, gen moun ki pa avocat, yo di yo met. First you need to verify the person you're dealing with, is he an authentic, is a lawyer? Because not everybody who has an office who wear a tie and suit and is a lawyer. They can be mortgage broker as well. But seriously, people come and say, oh, this lawyer, and then they're like, but this person is not a lawyer. You need to verify that. Then you need to have a contract. Whatever is going to be done need to be on paper. And if you invest, you give money, you need to have receipt. So because I've seen people who've been to court and they say, oh, I retain a lawyer. And they just say, where's the lawyer? He didn't show up. Okay, we're going to take action against him. Do you have any proof that you have? Oh, no, I don't have any paper. But how do we know you have had the lawyer you contacted? Certain applications have a time limitation, and if you don't do it on time, you say, well, my lawyer did not do it. But who's your lawyer? I've seen people, they actually have lawyers, but they don't even know the name of their lawyers. They don't know their name, they don't have their business card, they just say, oh, well, he's just a lawyer, that white guy across the street. So it's important to know that you have everything documented on paper, you have a contract. People say, okay, I have a lawyer and I show up in court, but you never retain the lawyer. And sometimes you just have to understand that a lawyer is a contract, he works for you, but you have to have an understanding. In order for him to work for you, you have to pay him. And if somebody says he's going to work for free for you, then that's the understanding is going to be on paper. Even if a lawyer is doing your case pro bono, he has to give you something in writing to say that he's going to represent you for free.
Donne-moi, monsieur, on parle sur ça. Dis ça encore. Oui?
Même un avocat dit l'État représente un bail le pro bono, ça veut dire for the good of society ou bien juste pour lui sympathiser dans cette situation-là, lui ou pas capé, lui dit lui prend cœur pour le représenter gratis. Même la fait gratis pour ouvrir un papier à l'écrit pour dire que lui-même lui prend Kaola comme avocat qui représente. Parce que sinon à n'importe moment, n'importe quand arrivé, il dit ça qui passe dans dossier là ou dit ou t'es un avocat, mais mon les pas songer le des conditions avant pour le représenter, so ou non problème. Et ça qui fait très important, toute barrière doit documenter. Et puis, si n'importe application, n'importe ça au bas ou tout, ou si vous avez une copie ou tout. Combien de fois chaque jour, moi, moun qui a une application asile politique, yo fait, côté copie asile là, on pas gain, il pas de ban moi. Il pas même compte ça qui dans l'application.
Wow.
So bagay ça nous doit apprendre pour pas quitter bagay ça arriver nous parce que nous mettons tête nous dans plus problème.
Très bien.
Let's talk a little bit about the pro bono attorneys. So the pro bono attorneys, even though the client is not paying them, they're usually getting paid by somebody, right? So if they're working for one of the local agencies, they're getting a salary and that's how they're getting paid. So they're not charging you, but they're getting paid for the work that they do, right? And then you also have the example of a person who may take a case pro bono. As a member of the bar, they usually will want you to do a certain amount of service hours, pro bono hours a year. So they're taking your case and they're telling like, oh, I'm just doing you a favor, but they're getting a benefit because they're reporting to the bar that they did a certain amount of pro bono hours for the year, because that's one of the questions that they ask us when we're renewing our every year when we're paying our bar dues. Did you provide any pro bono service? If so, how many hours did you do that for, right? Wow. Or like even with legal services, they also have attorneys who are members of the private bar that do legal service work for them. So they do get a benefit from representing you, even though it may not always be monetary.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so very much. Merci beaucoup. Troisième étape là, c'est mettre un plan en place en cas que nous connaissons nous pas ta remet pour nous ta nos situation pour ice pick up nous. Mais en cas que ça t'a passé, nous voulons que pour mettre un plan en place. Le n'a pas un plan. Nous gain plan guardianship, nous gain plan power of attorney et nous gain plan qui est qui va gérer asset tout. OK, ça veut dire sous déjà acheté caille, sous gain business ou gain machine ou besoin assurer que ou pas perdu bagay sa yo. Nan moment ça, n'a demandé monsieur Castor pour parler sous moun qui déjà acheté kay. At this moment, we're going to ask Mr. Castor to talk about people who have already purchased homes, who owns businesses, who has assets, cars, and other things. How can they proceed with putting a plan in place?
But the third step, I said the third step in English. We didn't- The third step is put a plan in place. We didn't say it in English.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So the third step is put a plan in place. Mr. Castor, as it relates to putting a plan in place, specifically if you are a homeowner or you own assets, what should be the course of action?
So that's actually vitally important, putting a plan in place. We have many of those who have purchased homes, they have bank accounts as well, right? So it's very important to obtain a power of attorney, as you mentioned. It's also important to consult with your bank to see what type of documents you need to be able to obtain funds from your account if you should be deported, right? And I believe each bank requires different documentations. So it's very important to consult your bank and see what the requirement is. I had a situation recently where someone went to their bank, the type of power of attorney that they were presenting to the bank said no, they needed something else. So it's very important to talk with your banker to make sure that you have the proper documentation to be able to get money out in case you need to. And if your TPS should expire or you don't have the proper documentation, you can get your Haitian passport, from my understanding as well.
Yes.
You can obtain your Haitian passport. That will help you as well. But it's very important to put a plan in place. Do not just sit and do nothing. Okay, that you don't want to do. And as far as the home, that's very important. Again, the power of attorney can also help with the home as well. If you have someone that you trust, you provide the power of attorney. And by the way, the attorney you have to make sure that the attorney is very good at power of attorneys. Because I've had situation with closings where the person had a power of attorney and it was not done properly. So that's also very important. You have to make sure that this attorney knows what they're doing with regard with power of attorney. And as far as the home, I do not recommend to quickly sell your property. Now, from my understanding, from my experience, where there's a bad situation, it's always good for somebody else. So there's a lot of investors out there. There's a lot of folks that's trying to gain from someone's situation. Okay, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So you have to be very cautious before thinking of selling your property. Consult with a mortgage broker or realtor like myself. We are very open to provide information, free as well. We do not charge for that. Don't go and sell your property just because you're afraid right away. You can also rent the property if you don't want to sell the property. If you should move back to Haiti or anywhere else, you can rent the property, or you can have a family member help you with that, or a property management company that can also rent the property and send you money wherever you're at to help you live where you're at. However, you have to make sure that you pay your mortgage on time. Do not stop paying your mortgage. You have to still pay your mortgage on time, and if you have money left over, whoever's in charge of your affair or your property can send that money for you. One thing I must note, if you should decide to sell your property while you are in Haiti or Canada or wherever you're at, yes, it is possible to sell the property. Be advised that you then become a foreign investor. So once you sell a property outside of the United States, there are tax complications. So I admonish you to consult with your CPA or tax professional or someone that does your taxes for you to talk about that information. But if you sell it here, then you have a better chance of not paying a certain amount of taxes. Even while you're here, at times, you can still be considered as foreign investor depending on your situation.
I want to also say on top of that, when you're putting a plan in place, if you go, and I'm going to keep saying flick.org, go to flick.org. If you, on the top right of the website, you'll find a flag. click on that flag and find the Haitian flag. It'll turn the entire website into Creole, okay? They have a whole preparation kit. It gives you a checklist of everything you need to gather, of all of the documents you need, all like your insurance and everything that you need, right? For in the event that ICE picks you up, I understand we just need to have this conversation. In the event that you're going to work and you don't make it back home for whatever reason, you have all of your documents in place, and somebody knows where those documents are. And then on top of that, for your children, you have put a plan in place for your children, and the person that you have decided to be their guardian, they know where everything is. And so I urge everyone to please go to flick.org, and if whatever language, it has it in English, Spanish, Portuguese, Haitian Creole. You go on there and you'll get all of that information, and it gives you a checklist and everything that you need.
Donc, pour nous faire ma prétendue pas avoir M. Castor, juste pour nous faire un summary, ça M. Castor dit, il dit comme ça que si que ou déjà gagne un caille, pas courir vendre caille là, parce que dans moment ça, grand pile monde qui a cherché possibilité pour yo ka bénéficier dans moment difficulté ça yo, ou vle pour prendre décision avec tête ou posée. OK, parce qu'il y a possibilité pour kembe kaila, mettez kaila dans loyer, et l'heure que vous mettez dans loyer, ou gagnez yon moun qui responsable à faire ou qui signe yon power of attorney qui légal, et à la fin n'a bon non on moun ka relé un avocat pour faire ça pour vous, qui a fait tout papier légal pour faire transaction pour ou même. Donc ou même comme moun qui gen asset là, ou bay moun sa droit pour faire toute transaction pour ou même. Deuxièmement, nous parler de si que ou dans moment ça ou vle connaître tout ce qui sort qu'a fait. Christine expliquez-nous, nous aller dans flic, nous toujours dit ça, ou aller sous drapeau américain, on a changé de drapeau américain en drapeau haïtien. Et puis tout website là a venu en créole. Là où a joindre toute étape ou besoin pour ou même ou ka faire toute planification ou besoin. Mais pour le moment ça, nous voulons connaître gain 3 types de planification qu'a faire. Premièrement, c'est assurer que ou gagne un power of attorney. Et power of attorney ça ou voulez c'est un avocat qui crée dossier ça pour vous même. Ensuite, moun sa ou bal responsabilité pour faire toute transaction pour vous. Et attendez, le nous dit pour faire power of attorney, son moun nous fait confiance. C'est pas n'importe moun ou joint nous dit comme ça que OK, m'a bay moun sa responsabilité et faut que moun sa c'est un américain ou un moun qui gagne résidence. Donc moun sa ou fait confiance ou dit dans moment ça en cas que on bagay t'a passé moins m'a ba ou pouvoir pour faire transaction financière pour moi-même. Deuxième bagay nous voulons dire c'est guardianship là. Si ko gen ti moun qui petit, si on bagay t'a passé ou voulez depuis d'avance pour gagner yon moun qui prend responsabilité ti moun nan. Pas dit oh seulement prend responsabilité ma tante prend responsabilité mais l'elle rive pour l'almenen l'école l'elle rive pour l'almenen ka docteur si li pas gen guardianship li pas ka faire ça. Dernier bagay nous dit l'a fait planification tout dossier légal ou supposé ramasser yo ensemble mettez yo seul côté et ou gon moun qui connaît information et qui boyoye en cas que ou gon avocat qui besoin information yo li ka aller joindre moun sa et moun sa ka trouver yo. Nous connaissons médecin te besoin ti de l'eau na ba ou pour bail information légale là après ça n'a passé monsieur Castor
I want to touch on something really quickly. You don't need the same person for everything. So the person that is your power of attorney over your house does not have to be the same person that's a power of attorney. Let's say you have a business, or maybe the person that's a guardian for your child. You can pick a different person, someone that you trust for each thing. So, and then also someone that you trust. And then I want to touch on the bank account thing, because I know that it's been said, sometimes it's easier to find someone you trust that you put on the account that can just have access to it in the event of an emergency, but someone you trust. We have to emphasize that it is someone you trust because sometimes it just may be easier. Okay?
Très bien. Mathieu?
Non, on dit, moun nou fait confiance, est très important parce que ça, moun ne pas comprendre. Paratonnier son mandat ou ba moun nan. Là ou ba moun nan mandat ça, li agi nan place ou. Tout sorte ka fait, li ka fait le bout. Ça veut dire, moun sa gen accès nan account ou, de pou bal accès ça. Sonje gen limited power of attorney, gen general power of attorney. So ba moun limited, ça veut dire pour une raison, pour un seul bagay, general là, gen doit faire tout bagay pour ou. Mais songe, sou ba moun nan pouvoir ça, li agi n'importe ça le fait, et ou pas capable prendre compte li parce que ou même qui ba l'autorité a. Et ça fait demander, c'est au moun nous faire confiance pour ba autorité ça pour l'agir pour. Mais songez pas gen stigma dans ça non parce qu'en réalité tout le monde a supposé gen documentation ça yo. Li juste plus important pour même parce que nos situation n'importe ba qui arrive n'importe là avec ice qui dans l'area mais en réalité tout le monde là supposé ta deux gen document ça yo. Will, power of attorney, trust and this kind of everything. So c'est pas comme si on bagay qui mal peut-être ou même une situation papier pas en forme qui fait ou même y a demandé pour faire document ça yo. C'est juste tout le monde a de gen bagay ça en cas urgence parce que si gon bagay arrivé faut gon monde qui ka camper dans place ou li ki pas besoin on pas un problème légal li gen un problème médical li gen une autre raison ou pas gen trop famille dans pays là ou besoin monde qui pour responsable bagay ou pas vle l'autre bagay arrivé à la dérive ou pas vle c'est con situation arrivé pour connaître qui est soit prélé pour aller chercher ti moun yo par contre côté petit toué li mandé une sorte de discipline pour préparer cabanou avant dominance yo c'est ça et situation ça mandé pour le moment.
I think that it's really important for us to understand that we're not trying to scare anybody, but right now, what's going on, and people are seeing all these things on TikTok and Instagram, and everybody's scared, we're just trying to help everybody prepare. Because if you're prepared, it eases you. You know, okay, if ICE took me right now, I'm at work, I know I've got everybody in place. Everybody's ready, and they know what they're supposed to do. So, you know, we just want you to plan. I think we should give the power of attorney information now. Let's not wait to the end. Flick.org gives power of attorney assistance. You can go to them, but I also know Natalie DeMesmin. She's an attorney that comes, does these town halls with us. Natalie DeMesmin's office also offers power of attorney assistance. And one thing she said in a town hall that I loved was that people don't realize that the power of attorney doesn't start right when you sign those documents. You can start it in the event that you're detained. So I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, all of a sudden now this person has like guardianship over my child right now. No, you can put all of this stuff in place in the event that you are detained.
She's also very good at guardianship as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So Natalie DeMesmin, her office, hold on. Let me pull up the.
So while we go, while we pulling it up, Castor, I think ou te gon bagay ou te besoin di.
Yes, you want the number?
I got
No,
it.
we got it already, but go ahead.
But no, she said you had another comment that you wanted to make.
Yes. So in addition to what we've mentioned, you can also do a trust. And again, you have to have someone you trust,
Yes.
all right? And if you have a vehicle, sou gen machine, mettez machine là sous non on moun trust, on moun
Yes.
fait confiance. Parce que si on bagay arrive à responder yo, faut déjà gen un plan. You have to have a plan in place. Ou pas faire tête chaud, les AIS prend ou pour yon pas comme ça pour faire.
Yeah.
So that's important.
OK, donc pour numéro de
Before we
téléphone,
move, oh, go ahead, give the number.
pour numéro de téléphone Nathalie DeMesmin, c'est pour Power of Attorney and Guardianship, li spécialisé dans ça, ou après les 954 367 51 48. C'est 954 367 51 48. Maître Sandra.
Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, the fears that people are having. So the one thing, we also usually have a licensed mental health counselor here or a social worker to kind of just ease people's mind. But I do want people to always honor their feelings, right? Like we don't want you to say, if you're afraid, for you to be like, oh no, I'm wrong for being afraid, and you're worried that you're afraid. No, these are absolutely scary times that we're in right now, right? So if you're afraid, it's not just you. It's not your mind playing tricks on you. You're not crazy. It is just really scary times. So honor that, right? So what we want you to do, and there are times where you have lows in your life, and you have to be like, oh, this is what we doing today, God? Okay, then. But you don't stay in denial. You just work through it. And this is what we're trying to get you to understand, that it is scary times, and all what you're feeling is real, but we're going to walk through this, and we're going to get through it. We're going to get to the other side, because this too shall pass, right?
Yes.
It's not, where joy comes in the morning, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
not always like that. So we want you to understand, yes, scary. I'm an American citizen, and I'm scared. I traveled, like, last month, and my friends were telling me, don't go. They're like, why you going? They're going to hold you at the airport. All that things you say about that man, they ain't going to let you back in this country. Are you crazy? I'm like, no, but I can't continue to operate in this space of fear, and so I went anyway. But this is what I'm going to tell these American citizens. Don't go with your real phone. Y'all need to go get that second phone, that trap phone that ain't got no social media on there. The only thing you're going to do is use it while you're in that other country so you can get in touch with your family. But do not take your regular phone outside of this country, because when you come back, they're going to go in it, confiscate it, all kind of stuff. So that is one thing I'm going to say. But the point that I wanted to ultimately make, these are scary times. Your fears are real. They are doing real mean stuff to people. But so what we want you to do, though, acknowledge it, honor it, and what we're telling you is ways that you're going to get through it, and you'll see yourself on the other side. Now, what the other side is, it's going to look different for different people. It's not going to be the same for everybody, and it may not be, I was dropping my phone, and it may not be exactly what you may want, but at least you're going to prepare yourself for it, and we're just letting you know that what you're feeling and experiencing is actually, it's happening. Like, it's like that, and it is just that bad. On some
Sandra,
days.
offre ba nou 1 minute en créole.
On minute, okay? Non, ça nous voulons faire nous comprendre, gen nan nous qui perd, gen nan nous qui pas ouais qui ça nous fait, gen nan nous qui bouleversé, situation li vraiment comme ça. Parce que si on vient côté, gen moun qui te vinn côté mois passé, yo fait consultation avec moi. Et puis, je parle avec eux. Samedi, je suis fait pour eux. Jeudi, je ne pas faire même bagay. Gen moun ou te allé dans côte avec eux mois passé, ou te demandé bonne pour eux, yo te lagué. Konya ou pas faire ça parce que chaque jour, il a changé tout bagay yo. Opportunité moun te gagné, konya yo pas gagné yo. So sous bouleversé, sous paix, ou vraiment gain raison. Parce que ça nous voulait faire connaître, n'a fait ça pour connaître. C'est vrai, tout ça, ou quoi qu'a passé, la passé vraiment, et puis on a essayé une bonne solution pour qui ça a fait, pour les temps, mauvais temps ça, la passé. Nous ne connaissons pas qui l'a passé, mais la passé, c'est une bonne option pour nous, qui nous a traversé, la ça qui vraiment gagne pile, pitfall, bombs, whatever you want to call it, in it, right?
But I'd like to add to what I was saying earlier. Moi, j'ai un client qui a un corps qui t'a acheté caille. C'est pas moment pour nous acheter caille là.
Yes. This is not
Si vous avez un corps dans la banque, c'est comme ça. Take care of your family. Faire plan ou après tout bagage fini, s'il possible, ou can acheter caille. But this is not the time to purchase a home. The moment is not for you right now, unfortunately. Save your money and figure out what you're going to do first before you make any type of purchase or big purchase.
So to clarify, do you mean don't buy a single family home? What if they want to buy an investment property? Is that something you would recommend or not even that?
I wouldn't even recommend that, to be quite honest with you, because you don't know where you stand. One, unless, again, you have a family member that you trust. Okay, I do have someone right now that has a brother, Eugene Coblin. Even before this situation, the plan was to purchase an investment property. They trust the brother, and they're going to move forward. But c'est pas tout non mon calapie. But yeah, it is possible. So if you trust someone, but if you're trying to do it under your name, and you don't know what's going to happen after February, I personally, as a mortgage broker, would not encourage you.
Très bien, merci. Donc, quatrième étape là, c'est préparer pour ou gagner l'argent bon. Mais kounya là, nous te kon parler de bon, mais Sandra fait dit nous bagay yo changer ou capable possibilité pour poster yon bon. Malgré ça, n'a still demandé mettre sur un pour expliquer bonne immigration qui jeune marché dans qui bol commencer et qui maximum nan pour un monde qui captant de là qui capacité li ka jeune possibilité pour jeune bon.
English.
So we're going to ask Metsuren to talk about the fourth step, which is contributing to a bail bond, explaining what is the maximum dollar amount, what is the lowest dollar amount. We know that Attorney Sandra just mentioned that things have changed. Things are changing every single day. Although prior to today, you could find yourself in a position where you can post bond, but right now, it may not be. Nevertheless, we're going to ask Attorney Surin to talk about the bond. So if you find yourself and you're fortunate to be before the judge and they give you that option, you're prepared.
Well, bond is a way that you put the money and the trust of the authorities as a security for your return to court or in proceeding. That means you guaranteed with that money that you will come back because you probably do not want to lose that money. So it's the same thing in the criminal court. If you get arrested, you can post a bond for your release until you defend your case. And sometimes people get detained and they get arrested for, it could be any criminal matters, it could be minor, but you get arrested. The criminal court gives you a bond, but you still cannot get released because they have an immigration hold. So if you're not a resident, you're not a citizen, they're likely that people can have, may not be able to get out of bond at the criminal court because the immigration has a hold. The hold is to keep you for immigration until they come and take you into their own custody. So when you're in an immigration custody, then you may request a bond before an immigration judge, but a bond is something that's very restricted and limited. Since the last Board of Immigration Appeal decision, I think last May, in matter of Q. Lee, where it's people who had come without inspection, people who were arriving alien, people who were granted parole by immigration, they all are not eligible to get bonds at all now. So that means bond is limited to a very few people. But if you happen to be one of those people who are one of the person who are eligible for bonds, and it's you make a request before the court to hear your case to determine that whether you're not a flight risk, and then you're not a danger to the community, and you have ties to the community as far as employment and housing and family, that is very unlikely for you to just disappear and not be able to find you. So once you convince the judge that before that you're not subject to mandatory detention, a lot of other complicated legal matters, because there are some instances, some crimes that you're not bond eligible at all. But assuming that you're one of those people who can get a bond, then I believe the minimum bond you can get is $1,500. And then I can goes up to, I've seen judges giving bond $30,000 and even more. And some judges, they just go crazy. They say, if you're eligible for a bond, we're gonna give you a bond. But we're just gonna practically make it impossible for you to get out of here by requesting a large amount of money. So once you granted a bond, then you have to either you get the money, you pay at the immigration, for instance, at Crum in Miami, you go, you pay that money, and then you, well, usually not the person in detention, somebody would come up with the money and pay to have that person released. But usually people do not have the whole amount of money. If they give you a $10,000 bond and you don't have the money, you get a bail bond, then they usually post, the immigration bond is about like 20% of the amount goes to the bailman, then they post the whole $10,000. That means the $2,000 he put for you, that's his own money, he gets to keep it. So when he gives the $10,000, once your case is complete, either you are deported or surrender, or you become legal, you're in legal status, you surrender to immigration, or you get a permanent status, then the bail bond would get the money back, the whole $10,000 with interest. But you have nothing because the money you had given to the bail bond is the interest on his investment on you. So it's easier for you if you have the whole money, you put the whole money and they give you the whole amount back. Or if you cannot afford it, you get a bail bond knowing that is a business is doing, then that's how he makes a living, and then you get to keep that money. So in reality, once you pay that money and then the immigration process some papers and then they have you released, and hopefully you don't have to come in detention if you have a hearing, but they would set your case to the immigration judge outside of detention so you can continue to defend your case and so forth.
So I wanted to add just one more thing. So for the very few people that are still bond eligible right now, no, I want to finish. I'll say this in English and I'll say it in Creole. So for the very few people who are still bond eligible right now, one of the other things the judges are looking at is if you have relief available to you. You have to have a way to have status in the United States, and it's not TPS. They're like, no, we ain't got nothing to do with that. That means that you have like a family member or somebody that's petitioned for you, like your marriage case or something, or you have an asylum case that once they review it, it's like, it looks like you really actually have a chance, and that you filed it probably before you got into detention. It's not like once they've arrested, you be like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm scared to go back to Guatemala, so I want to apply for asylum now. They may not want that. They're like, well, if you were so scared, you should have done that before you found yourself in ICE custody. So that's something that they're really also looking at. And Surin talked about a QLE case. There are actually 2 more unpublished decisions that came out like in the last couple of weeks that really shut the door. So the people who are bond eligible are like maybe a student that was an overstay, like a visa overstay, because they're like in a different type of proceedings. That's the legal stuff that we don't really want to get into the weed and completely nerd out on it. But those are the folks that are probably still have an opportunity of getting bonds. And Surya said something about posting the money directly to immigration. And if we were not live streaming, I would say something. So I'm going to wait until we're done, and I'm going to make a comment about that because I don't want to encourage anybody to do anything. But we've been doing this a very long time, and we know what happened when some of these bonds are posted, right? So we'll talk about that like off air. But so people who saw me smile afterwards, I was having some thoughts.
Ok, prends une minute pour parler de bon nan créole.
Ok, non, sou pou bon nan gen, si an te explike, pou konya gen pil moun ki reman pa ka soti nan bon, paske administrasyon vreman pa vle moun soti, but gen nan moun yo ki ka lage. But le yap evalue si ya bon, yo vle konen ki kalite kondisyon nan imigrasyon ou gen ki ka edo jwen ou stati legal nan peyi ya. Please say sou gon azil ki vraiment gen fond, y ap gade aplikasyon, y ap evaluel, ou sou gon moun ki aplike pou rezidans pou ou, et pou ka fe rezidans lan ici, so sa se yo gade sa. On lot bagam te vle di tou, si gen di kon sa, si moun nan rezide, gene fwa se moun sa yo, ki ka poste bon nan ka kriminel yo, but sou rezide, et pi gen de krim, sou fe yo, yap aysap mette hol sou tou, et pi yap fo ale nan imigrasyon, paske se pa tout moun ki rezide, lo rezide, ou pa ka fe kempot kalite krim, gen nan krim yo so fe, yap kembo. Par exemple, and I want to give this one example. Par exemple, sou te moun ki te arete pou misdemeanor marijuana, right? Ça c'est misdemeanor marijuana. Sou ici, yo pa immigration papa il faut aller dans immigration pour ça. But sou ki te pays et puis wap retourner et pour arriver dans airport là, yo ka kembo parce que ça son charge yo relé au charge of inadmissibility. Comme si ou pas et puis là on moun réside, chaque fois yo vini dans airport là, c'est permission wap mandé pour retourner dans pays là. So sou gon charge marijuana et puis wap mandé yo permission pour entrer encore, yo ka do no ou pas ka entrer et puis yo ka voyo dans crom pour ça. Son bagay ou c'est réellement simple, parce que sou qui te paye ali vraiment vinn un bagay qui compliqué. So dans moment ça, m'a dit comme ça sous résider et pour éligible pour appliquer pour citizenship, c'est très important pour faire ça qu'on y a.
Merci. Dernière étape, 5e étape là, the 5th step is prepare your case. The fifth step is prepare your case. Cinquième, nous ka di étape là, c'est préparer cas là pour qu'à présenter devant immigration. Mathieu?
Well, it depends what kind of case you have. For instance, and I envision a few people now who had been here for a number of years, and they raised children and so forth, and then they probably had people who had TPS since 2010 during the earthquake. They've been here for over 10 years. There are some form of relief. They may be eligible for cancellation of removal, because people think that the asylum is a whole relief for everything. In fact, asylum is a relief as last resort. That's when you don't have any other relief available, adjustment, cancellation, suspension, or any of those other stuff. So you have to have your lawyer sitting with you to find what form of relief, what defense you're going to have to defend yourself from removal proceeding, and the removal proceeding from being removed to get legal status, permanent legal status. That you have to, there's a battery of things to evaluate, how long you've been in this country, what resources you have, what family, what ties and everything, and whether you've been in proceeding before, or whether you have even some bars, whether you have a pending asylum or you do not have, whether you can file one at this point in time or not. So you have to have a defense. When they put you before an immigration judge, they place you in removal proceeding. That's when the government sending you before the judge to tell the judge, we want you to give an order to deport this person. As a defense, then you need to have your lawyer prepared to say, okay, my client probably is subject to the removal. However, he has a defense that can give him legal status. Then you have to prepare this defense to present to the court, and the court is going to have a hearing to hear the merit of your claim. And if it has the merit, then the judge can grant you, then boom, you become free and have legal status in this country. On the other hand, if the defense you put up does not work, if the judge does not grant you, he would issue an order of deportation. Now, at this point, you may be able to appeal it to the Board of Immigration Appeal, but you get to a point that you've been denied relief in this country. So the point is, at what point in time you are you before USCIS? If you are USCIS with its immigration, you're not in removal proceeding, at least not yet, then there are certain applications you can put up to, they call even an asylum, it would be an affirmative asylum application. When it's before the court is defensive, you're defending yourself from deportation. Then there are some other applications, because there are other things people don't talk. People don't talk about U visa, T visa, VAWA, all those kind of things. They just sometimes put so much emphasis on asylum, like it's a golden gift, whereas asylum is probably is the thing they're so cheap on it, because they grant asylum, but like maybe, I don't know, I'm afraid to even tell you,
Less than 20%.
because that would just even discourage anybody from pursuing asylum if you know the rate of denial for asylum. But you just have to understand that if we don't have any of those things, that you're still afraid to go to your country, then you're entitled to request asylum. Now, and even on the asylum, that's probably a separate subject to discuss, because it's not anything that you're afraid of, not anything that happened to you, and then it's an asylum claim. I've had people come up with something called familial asylum. I'm like, what is that? Oh, because I've been hurt by a family member. I'm like, so what? What is that? They come up with something. They have economic asylum. Why? Because I'm broke, I have nothing to go. Like, but the law does not recognize that. People, it's not anything. That's somebody break my business, they stole my money, and now I'm asking for asylum. Those are not, they are not ground for asylum. So one of the things people do not recognize, not everything that happened to you, afraid to go back to your country, is a ground for asylum. Those are the reasons you have to have the law to evaluate, to put you in the category where you can seek relief on that basis. So preparing your case is very important because sometimes not only you make the application, but you have to have evidence to support it. You cannot just say, well, you know what, hey, those people come to my house, they beat up everyone, and then they kill, they shoot, they destroy, they put fire. Then you don't have even, you don't have a police report, you don't have any, even, I mean, even a statement from a neighbor is a form of evidence. Usually people come up with nothing. And I've seen people, they are siblings, they've been through a similar situation, and then one happened to come here before, he was granted asylum, and then just to ask the one who was granted asylum to come serve as witness for the other sibling, they're not coming. I'm like, So we need to have witness. The more you have witness, you have even, for instance, the trauma you experience, you have psychological report, you have mental evaluation. All of those things could strengthen your case to demonstrate to the court that you deserve to stay here based on the trauma you have experienced. But usually people do not have a battery of evidence to support their claim, and they just say something and they expect that to be the case. There are situations, asylum even by itself is based on credibility. And you can say something that is so far-fetched to the court that it doesn't seem real. And I can even give you an example where I've had two clients. Basically, the crux of the difference in the case, one day tried to kill him, he went to hide under the bed. The other one went to hide in the closet. So based on that differences, one person is granted asylum. Now, if you go up in Haiti, in the rural country, the person who hide on the bed has a better claim because the beds are high in Haiti, and frankly, in the countryside, they have no such thing as closet. But if you tell a judge here, he's going to grant the one that has the closet because that makes sense to him. And you don't see a bed in this house, in this country where you can crawl on the head and so forth. It doesn't make sense. But if you have witness, if you have a testimony, and even if you have an expert to testify about it, even if you have document to support that, then the judge has to believe it. Credibility is based on what you say, but if you have evidence that support your statement, then that's by your credibility. So this is just part of the preparation you need to have in your case before you go and testify before the court. You don't just get up, and I don't know, Sandra, we don't see that people anymore. And I have one lady that says, I don't know why the judge denied me. Every time he gives me an appointment, I show up, I dress nicely, I answer all his questions. That was enough to get a grant. But she didn't realize that, the nature of the answer you give, the document you present, they all make a difference. It's not because you're being a nice person, it's what you're saying that make a difference. So people need the degree of preparation to know, because not only you prepare the application, then you have the evidence, then you have to have a preparation before you go testify. Because the way, I don't know, the Haitian would testify, oh my God, he would take you, he said, sir, what's your name? He said, my name? I'm like, okay, I'm talking to you, what you mean, who else's name? Okay, now, what's my name? My name, well, my uncle called me, but my mother, and then I like, sir, all we ask you for your name. Now you can imagine you ask those people to explain to you what happened to you. What happened to you? Oh, well, what happened to me, I was born, okay, we are talking about on July 17, what happened? What happened is the fact that on that day, I wasn't there, but somebody was telling me, because the day before, and my uncle was calling me, they just give you a bunch of things that just do not match, do not make sense. So you need to have the preparation to tell them, this is the way you testify, this is the way you answer the question, this is the way you present yourself. All those things make a difference. And I've had a client who just really, unfortunately, she was raped. And then I was preparing her, and then she was like all smile when she was talking about the trauma. In fact, I don't know, sometimes people can react a certain way about certain things unless you have a expert who just say that, this is the way people express their trauma. But in that case, I tell the lady, if you're going to talk about this traumatic thing, you cannot all but smile. You just have to, they just have to feel that thing, and you like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, when they get to me. And then, frankly, when I go to court with her, the first question I ask her, what's your name? She's a crying the very first question. That's not the time for it. So preparation is very important because people just really do not understand the system, the concept, and how to go about it.
Thank you, Metsuye. Thank you, Metsuye. Sandra,
So I had
we're
to
gonna
tell-
have
tell
you
tell-
give
tell them
1
what.
minute.
No, tell them what.
Okay, go ahead.
I could beat Suran on where the person went to hide, right? So he talked about the bed in the closet. I had a person that said they went and hid in a tree. So they was like, they always busting out the back door. I bust out the back door and I ran up the tree, right? I made the mistake, I made the mistake and asked about the dates, right? So he told, when did this happen and when did you get out the tree? Because of course they're in the tree and then they end up on the boat and they're in the Bahamas, right? And so I was like, so when did they come to your house? Say he said March 1st. He was like, March 1st. I was like, oh, but when did you get on the boat? He said March 15th. I was like, wow, it's a logical question, right? I was like, so where were you between March 1st and March 15th?
And the tree.
On the tree. Next Sandra.
Okay, can
And
we
he
talk
was
about
Sandra-
social media?
confused about why he was denied. I was like, what?
So, thank you so very much, Metsuye. Sandra, can you talk about, well, first, giving us a 1 minute in Creole, and two, specifically talking about social media and prioritizing your mental health, especially when you have to go before the courts and to present your case.
Yeah, so ça met sur table du pour document. So document.
please.
Okay, all right, sorry. Pour document yo, li très important pour bay avocat Salmando là. But l'el avocat mando preuve pour ça que te passe en Haïti, pour moun qui te ouais ça que te passe, papier docteur, procès verbal, papier police, li pas dou ay paye on moun nan North Miami pour yo faire papier pour. C'est pas ça avocat dit. Li dit comme ça, si gen preuve là qui vraiment existait, sous te gen yon carte ou te non parti politique, on bagay comme ça, si vraiment te gen ou ka vin avec li, yo pa voyo ay paye moun aucun l'argent pour yo faire document pour li très important pour nous dire ça parce que gen moun qui fait ça. But avocat connaît, li évalue dossier, li connaît qui qualité document ou ka présenter, qui ka bay dossier à fond. Sou genyen yo, présenter yo. Sou pa genyen yo, just expliquez-nous qui démarche ou te fait pour te joindre papier yo, et puis pour quelle raison ou pas joindre li, et puis ça suffit. OK, ça suffit. Ça c'est notre dossier asile. Dans le dossier mariage, yo avocat bon liste qui qualité papier le besoin, la mando pour papier canet banque, la mando pour bill kay, please pas venir avec final notice, pas venir avec papier banque qui gagne dollar dans banque, like nous pas gagne l'argent, nous papier ça yo papier d'eau, OK? Ou gagne pour payer bill à l'air. Nous comprenons que des fois, bagay yo difficile, mais c'est pas chaque mois pour nous final notice pour venir avec une bonne final notice pour présenter comme preuve. Et puis, si vous avez un canet banque avec un moun marié, ou pas qu'à gagner l'autre canet savings là qui gagne l'argent, et puis canet ça n'a utilisé ensemble, pas gagne comme là-dedans, nous pas c'est celle $100 nous te mettez, et puis c'est celle bank fees. Papier ça, pas gagne aucune valeur. Si avocat d'où qui sont besoin, fait tout effort pour faire ça. Et puis, une autre bagaille. You tap talk de santé mentale moun nan, right? Si on son moun qui te like yo te violo ou yo te ou te sibi violence ou ta dans prison ou sibi aucun habit, gene fois avocat mando pour ou psychologue ou thérapeute pour yo ka faire évaluation pour parce que gene fois li ka expliquer ça que te passe et puis pour qui raison ou expliquer non gens. So let up mando ça, c'est pas l'argent n'a fait pour zami nous. Ça son bagay qui important pour dossier qui a bon plus chance pour qualifier. So, sous getan pour avocat gain confiance dans ça avocat abdou. Pas quitter moun nan l'aria di l'autre bagay, pas quitter moun nan TikTok di l'autre bagay parce que ou vin nan bio avocat ou payer l'argent pour les dos. Si l'abdou besoin bagay gain confiance dans ça l'abdou et puis présenter document ba yo.
Social media.
OK, pour média social. OK. Ça moi me dit, gen nous qui gen un dossier mariage, m'a dit mariage là pas bon. M'a dit ça parce que ça me voulait faire nous connaître pas mettre photo girlfriend nous sur Facebook, pas mettre photo girlfriend nous sur Instagram, sur marié c'est madame Mario qui pour dans tout by social media parce que immigration garde tout bagay ça yo. Même si son dossier non et puis non ambassade wa faire li like comme si moun nan Haïti toujours moun nan Saint-Domingue côté lié yo même mandé pour yo bon tout social media, tout Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, yo mando tout account ça yo parce que yo checker pour ouais ki kalite bagay wap poste pour yo ka pon décision sou case ou. Now, sa pa vle di, like, parce gen moun yo pa poste fòm yo sou social media, epi yo ka kompren sa. But sou son moun ki poste, ou gen moun ki chak jou 10 times a day, yap mette bagay, yap expect pou mette fòm yo. So, either ou pa poste anyen, ou soit poste ou gen pou poste fòm yo paske yo cheke tout bagay sa yo. Et on lot bagay ki pi important nan moment sa, ou konen président son moun ki réellement sensible, il paraît même moun parler de lui-même, you know, sous d'un bagay LED, la chercher toute qualité gens pour, you know, put pressure on you or do something to you. So là où y a gen cartoon yo, ka parler des présidents, ka parler des cheveux li ou couleur li ou whatever li, pas like post ça, pas share li, pas faire aucun bagay avec, just garder it, pass it by, pas mettre aucun comment, pas dire you agree parce que là y a checké social media si yo comme ça ou d'accord avec moun yo ka parler président mal, yo ka tout dit comme ça ou enemy of the state. Et puis, le wap de résidence, ou kempot bagay devant juge, yo gon bagay qui est le discretion. Juge la ka décide si, même sou éligible pour li, yo ka toujours dit non. So, ou vle be careful nan ki kalite bagay wap poste, ki kalite bagay wap like, ki kalite bagay wap share. So, pour moi même, di kon sa nan moment sa, don't do none of it. Don't share nothing, don't like nothing, don't post nothing. That's it, parfait.
You want me to say it in English
Yeah,
or whatever?
go ahead,
Okay,
say it in English.
so basically, if you are married on paper, okay, if you're married, don't go posting your girlfriend on Facebook, Instagram. It needs to, let's just say you need to, everyone that's married is posting their wife or their husband. That is on paper. Let's just keep it at that. And then as far as political, right now this climate is very judgmental and on whoever's posting against the president. Don't like it, don't share it, don't comment on it. If you see something about this administration, just pass it by because the judge can use their discretion to not give you your
And the
citizenship.
service. And we do know, you do have a First Amendment right to free speech in the United States. We know that. There's a constitution that exists, but they ain't paying attention to them things right now. So understand. And it's just a moment in time, and we'll get through it. But, you know, since you're looking for something, you got to do the things that you need to do to get what it is that you're looking for. So just don't do it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. At this time, we're going to go to our sixth step. Nan mouman sa nou prale nan sixième étape la, which is train your support network. C'est entraîner moun ki la pou support. Sa vle di kon sa ke moun ki la ki vle ede ou, zami ou, fami ou, pa kache yo ke ou gen problem TPS ou sous TPS. This is not the time
But only
to,
tell people you trust, because they can use it against you too.
so this is the time for you to find the people that you trust, find your community, and those who are going to be your power of attorney, those who are going to be guardianship over your children, those who are going to be by your side to help you. Train them for them to understand your rights, for them to understand the rights of American citizens and residents in America, même si moun na vive avo, si moun na vin, yo ais vin frappe pot la, ki sa ki legal, ki sa ki pa legal. Non mouman sa na mande Christine pou pale de train your support network.
So Flick has a training, which I took, which is a Know Your Rights training. It teaches you your rights. The United States Constitution protects every person in the United States, not every citizen. You have to understand that. So you are protected under the Constitution. You have the right to remain silent, okay? You do not have to agree to a search with, if they have a warrant with your name on it, they have to show it signed by a judge, and it has to be your exact name. So knowing all of these things and having your family and people that know you, that you trust, they should know these things, right? If someone comes to your door, have them show the warrant with the name on it, and it has to be your name. All of these things you can find on flick.org. They have a Know Your Rights card, which, yes, oh, awesome. I ran out, thank you. So this is a Know Your Rights card. They have it in English, Creole, Spanish, Portuguese. Now, on this card, this part is in English. If an ICE officer comes up to you and tries to take you or takes you, you can rip this piece off and hand it to them. It says, I have constitutional rights. I do not wish to speak with you or answer your questions or sign or hand any documents based on my Fifth Amendment rights under the United States Constitution. And then it gives you everything else. But you give this to them, they can read it. You don't have to talk. Don't sign anything. Don't give them any information. And you should know that, because a lot of people think, okay, if ICE starts talking to me, then I gotta like give them all this information. You do not. Do you wanna translate that really quickly
No,
before I
I'm
do the
gonna-
other points?
You can do that part, and I'm gonna have Mitsu and talk about Dwyer.
Okay, so, all right. I'll finish, okay, that, and then also your network. In the event that you're detained, the person that you trust should have a code word, right? So you call them and you say pineapple, or in Creole, anana, right? You call them and you say that, and then all of a sudden, they know it's time. At the time that ICE detains you, you may not have time to explain, oh, I was at work, and then they came, and all this. You don't have time for all of that. So you say your code word, whatever code word it is, that person knows, I've got to go pick up their kids at school, I've got to go get their documents, I've got to contact their attorney. Like, that person knows to do everything for you. So find someone that you trust that will answer the phone. Memorize their number in your head, because you're not going to have time to say, oh, let me take out my book and get their number. No, or look at my phone. Memorize your number, their number in your head. Call that person, give them the code word. They will put all of your plan in place immediately, right? And then the last thing, the person that is watching your children, have them come for a day. Spend a day at the house. Show them where the clothes are. Show them what their favorite toys are, what they like to eat. It'll help make it a lot easier for them. This is how they like to sleep, or this is their favorite things to watch. Just have them spend that day with you and your family. And then, yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so very much, Christine. At this time, we're going to have Mitsu and talk about droit que ni moun nan ki sou résidence nan, ni moun kap vive ici a, ki doit yo genyen pour le Haïti ta vin n'importe l'argent, Christine dit en anglais, a, ki jan pour yo ka porter pa ba yo plus information que ta dwe konnen.
Wait, you don't want to translate that before you go into it?
Non, non, non.
Okay.
Bon, li gen lwa très difficile pour nous comprendre loi ici qui doit au moun gen. Franchement, en réalité, li gen lwa même difficile pour connaître sou gen doit qu'on y a là pour gens nous parfois gens ça va agir dans la ria. Mais en réalité, quel que soit genre administration veut comprendre là, constitution toujours existé, doit toujours exister. So, constitution, l'elle fait là, elle était faite pour un groupe monde, n'est pas faite pour tout le monde, mais il y a des changements qui viennent fait qui mettent constitution à disponibilité pour tout le monde qui est dans le pays, quel que soit le statut légal ou bien une série de droits dans le pays. Pour nous commencer, quatrième amendement de la constitution dit ou bien droit et comme si vous grand monde la caillou, si vous pas ba monde permission, on pas entrer la caillou. Ça veut dire que si on immigration vient frapper porte ou pas obligé ouvrir porte là-bas. Si ou parler avec ou pas obligé parler avec. Mais si vous voulez parler avec eux, seule façon vous capable rentrer la caillou, faut vous gagner un mandat qui ba autorisation pour vous rentrer la caillou. Et mandat doit décrire qui est à chercher et qui côté à chercher et son juge qui signe mandat. Ça va pas dire n'importe papier immigration longe ba ou vous voulez dire son mandat pour vous prendre. Ça veut dire li gen doit difficile pour comprendre mais conseil de système en place, ça sont besoin qu'on ait ou pas obligé ouvrir porte mon a dit c'est police ouvert ba ça yo, c'est H ouvert non ou pas obligé ouvert ou gen droit pour être en sécurité la caille. Parce que le gen droit difficile pour nous haïtiens pour nous comprendre parce que depuis nous comprendre c'est autorité c'est l'état nous doit obéir à n'importe ça dit ou gen droit ou pas obligé obéir à toute bagaille. Mais qu'on y a là si c'est pas là car c'est par exemple c'est dans la rue ta joindre nous qu'on y a là, vous voulez mettre mes sous pour vous poser une question, pour vous chercher connaître qui est souillé. Parce que les vient là, car il y a des gens qui cherché, mais souvent dans la réelle, l'assemblée, n'importe qui est tombé, mais sous lui, il regarde qui j'ont semblé, qui coule et puis il doit choisir pour vous camper. So, souvent, il doit pas même pas d'informations sur vous. So, c'est ça qu'on peut dire qui a aidé pour vous connaître qui est souillé pour comprendre qui ça peut faire avec. So, cinquième amendement de la Constitution dit ou pas qu'à obliger par information qui compte ou qui pourra le servir avec qui pas en faveur. Ça veut dire ou gen droit pour faire silence. Si on demande qui est souillé ou pas obligé par non, si vous pas voulez par information, si on demande qui peut ou sorti et qui pas pu gain ou gen droit pas répondre à aucune question ça ou dit on pas parler tout le temps bagon avocat qui pour parler avec d'abord. So, d'après la loi, il est supposé qu'il t'aura répondu pas poser aux questions jusqu'à ce qu'il y ait un avocat qui parle avant et puis qu'on a décidé qui ça pour faire. Ça ne veut pas dire l'immigration pas doit arrêter tout non, mais si l'immigration décide pour l'arrêter, ou pas besoin de bataille, ni jouer, ni faire gonèg, ni bail menti, ni bail faux documents. Pas faire une bagage ça parce que ça rend la vie plus difficile. Ou résider tout doucement ou aller. Bien sûr, si vous avez un document légal ou un résident sous citoyen américain, pour rendre ça plus facile pour vous dire, mais ça avez mes documents, mes bagages. Mais surtout, les bagages ne sont pas bons en main, si tout le monde qui a un ordre final de déportation, ou bien vous avez un document qui est expiré, ou pas obligé de coopérer par information parce que l'information ça va servir avec un compte. Il est facile pour l'immigration pour déporter si vous avez information. Mais si vous n'avez pas d'information, c'est spéculation à faire, par contre, qui est souillé. C'est très important pour qu'on ait droit à pour même pour ne pas prendre intimidation sous n'importe forme, pour ne pas répondre à une question, pas de répondre, pour ne pas mentir, pour ne pas sentir que on est dans une situation où on est obligé de courir parce qu'il y a Kembel. So, juste rester posé, quelle que soit la circonstance, pas faire le mal pour vous, pas ni dans bail menti, dans bail faux documents, surtout lever bataille, courir avec eux parce que ça rend encore la plus difficile. Mais dans toutes circonstances, demander pour parler avec un avocat et puis à partir de là, on est capable de comprendre qui ça plus bon pour faire dans cette situation.
Merci beaucoup. Monsieur Castor, est-ce que gagnez un training support de network maintenant dans le cas financier à 40 jours, qui préparation il a fait, qui additionnel que sortez dit déjà?
Bon, moun qui dans une situation qui a besoin pour nous, besoin de help, besoin d'advice, je suis capable toujours aller dans l'office moi dans 305 204 5626 305 204 5626. Nous sommes toujours prêts, nous préparer pour nous capables d'aider tout le monde. Et ensuite, il y a a couple of things que je suis capable de dire. Ou même qui gagne investissement à part de real estate, such as 401k, ou bien l'autre plan d'investissement, il est important pour capable parler avec your financial advisor pour faire connaître qui boye kounya là, ou par contre qui boye garde, ou par contre ça peut passer dans 6 mois ou bien après février pour capable un plan. We keep talking about plan dans toute bagaille. C'est pas seulement légal, but pour Kai, your finance, bank, toute bagaille net que vous gagnez ici, faut préparer et pas que ça pour dire que ah, il y a des gens qui disent oh, Trump, le président a extension. Il y a l'autre bagaille. Okay, this is not the time for that. Préparez.
Yes.
Okay, put yourself together, and if something good happens, yes, good for you. If God, parle dans quel monsieur, si bon Dieu, font un bagaille, we all be happy for that. Mais pas chita pas faire attendre ça mon abdi, okay? Ensuite, si vous gagnez et que vous achetez avec un autre monde, ou achetez un caille avec une famille, un ami comme investissement, c'est extrêmement important pour capable un dialogue avec monde ça pour connaître ce qu'on va faire. Est-ce que vous voulez monde là vendre là ou bien refinancer bon parti pour là pour capable un petit comme pour Haïti ou bien quelque chose qu'on parler ça important. Pas juste chita pas faire parce que mon grand client actuellement là qui fait un investissement avec un autre monde il pas comme ça pour le faire. The first thing you need to do parler avec monde là. Ok, si c'est pour mon vendre là, refinancer, bon, comme pour là, pour faire sauver là avec, même si vous pas connaissez si vous avez déporté ou not, at least qu'il y ait comme dans le monde, or have a plan.
Très bien, très bien. Dernière étape là, c'est étape, septième étape là, what if I can't stay? Nous qu'a dit pour Haïtiens, est-ce pas arrêter? Qui possibilité qui gagne, n'a passé ça avec Sandra Cheffrey. Si mon n'a pas arrêté, what are the possibilities? The last step, the seventh one. What
Okay.
if I can't stay?
Well, I mean, what if you can't stay? And that's going to be the reality for certain people. So it takes you back to the first step of getting that consultation with the attorney and having them evaluate your case and let you know that, you know what, you're one of those people that really needs to make plans for where you're going to live. We're not telling you where to go. We're just saying that you might not be able to stay, right? So I know, like, there's some, Flick is one of the organizations that's working with, with Brazil, because there were Haitians that were living there before that had document and status there, that they're opening their doors back to allow those individuals to return to Brazil. Some people were in Chile. Some of them were residents and they left, and if you stay out a certain amount of time, you lose your status. That's an option that's available to them. We had an individual who, was in Mexico before they came here, and he had like authorization to be in Mexico, and when the judge ordered him removed to Haiti, I think he took voluntary departure to Haiti, but he's like, I don't want to go to Haiti, can I go to Mexico in the alternative? But because the card that he had allowed him to go into Mexico, he was allowed to go to Mexico instead of going to Haiti. So people have those options. So people, and that was in the detained setting. So a person that's not yet detained, those are options that are available to them that they can explore too, so they don't find themselves in the detained setting, right? You also have the option of like going to Canada. There's an attorney that I know, I have their information, but the thing people have to be concerned about is that if you have to have somebody there that's willing to receive you. So repeat, they have to be willing to receive you, because if they refuse you once you get to the border, then the Canadians are going to turn you over to immigration in the United States. So when you make that decision, you have to be very certain that they're going to receive you in Canada. Now, there was a situation, and this, I love Haitian people, but every now and then they do some things, right? So, gen des fois, Haïtien yo gen 2, 3, 4 actes de naissance, chaque gen une date de naissance différent, non maman éplé un Jean, non papa éplé un Jean, ou non yo dit c'est Rose, l'autre là dit c'est Rosemary, et puis yo gen tout document ça yo qui gen toute information ça. So après c'est traverser frontière pour aller like Canada, ou pas qu'à marcher avec tout document ça yo. Choisi non wapay Kembea et puis marcher avec seul document ça. Parce que si vous joignez avec un 2, 3 actes de naissance, non yo différent, date de naissance yo différent, non maman c'est yon bagay nan yon, l'autre non papa l'autre, yo pap qui te rentre dans pays et puis après remettre tout by immigration ici. So, sous les documents et puis information par match, choisis the one ou voulez utiliser et puis prends route là avec celle document ça, parle avec plaisir. Vérifier information correcte.
Merci. Thank you so very much, Sandra. Now nous parlons dans dernière étape là, c'est partager information ça. Tout le monde qui a regardé sur Facebook, qui a regardé sur YouTube, s'il vous plaît, partagez information ça, nous assurer que nous parlons anglais, nous parlons créole. Donc pour tout le monde qui a une même information, pour qui ça, pour qu'a faire une décision qui bon pour vous-même et qui bon pour petit nous. Nous pas voulons personne prendre décision dans fait noir avec inquiétude ou peur ou par contre qui ça pour faire tête ou chaud. Non, nous voulons que pour qu'on dit mon yo dia pour tête ou en paix, pour chita, pour tête ou clair pour connaître qui ça va faire. Pour monde qui besoin information flic, OK, nous ouais Christine parler de flic, Sandra parler de flic. Chaque mercredi à 2h l'après-midi, yo gagné free clinic. Ça veut dire comme ça que ou pas besoin l'argent pour chita pour parler avec un avocat et ou pas besoin présent ou ka faire via Zoom. Numéro flic c'est 888 600 57 62. C'est 888 600 57 62. Pour moun qui senti que dans moment ça, ou senti ou bouleversé, ou senti tête ou pas en place, ou senti tête ou chaud, ou t'a remè parler avec un moun dans le domaine santé mentale, nous avons une organisation qui est le CEAT, CEATT, qui bail et consul gratis sans pas payer $1. Ou après le numéro 305 488 4534 305 488 45 34. Aussi, nous avons rebâti santé mentale encore, cap bay rabais pour et services santé mentale. Ou après les 954 432 38 00 954 432 38 00. Si que vous habitez dans Broward County ou besoin santé mentale ou carrelé 305 707 7977. C'est 305 707 7977 et numéro de téléphone ça pour être Broward County ou gen driver's license Broward County y a pour gratis. Nous voulons dire merci avec panel là.
Say it in English. Sorry. So Flick, the number to Flick is 888-600-5762. Once again, the number to Flick, 888-600-5762. There's another organization that gives legal and immigration support. That's CEATT. That's the organization, CEATT.org, 305-488-4534. Mental health, we have Reparti Santé Mentale, 954-432-3800. And then we have social work, social support, 305-707-7977.
OK, donc n'a dit merci avec panel là, n'a passé pour chaque monde bail information, nous connaît quand tu as déjà bail information mais n'a passé commencer avec mettre sur encore sous besoin consultation gratis ou après les Champagne sur un law firm pour ça.
Law Offices of Champagne and Surin. 27 ans, dans la même location, dans Fort Lauderdale, au même numéro qui ne va jamais changer. 954 463 0709. 954 463 0709. Parlez là, du besoin de parler à avocat non, ou pas besoin. C'est juste expliquer la situation là et puis qu'on y a l'abdio, soit pour un bon rendez-vous ou bien pour dire mais qui j'en a parlé avec. So songez, coopérer et puis prendre patience, rester avec la paix.
Say the number in English.
The number is 954-463-0709. 463-0709.
Law offices of Champagne and Surin.
Yes.
Ou capable de Jean Castor dans American Mortgage 305 204 56 26 305 204 56 26. Nous avons plus que 25 ans à aider des communautés. Nous experts dans real estate avec mortgage. N'importe quelle question que nous sommes capables de gagner, nous mettons nous pour nous donner un conseil gratis. Et 305-204-5626. 305-204-5626. Jean Castor with American Mortgage. We're here to help you guys.
Thank you.
And follow Race in the Races.
Yeah, I don't have any phone numbers to give you all. We're just here for the information.
Yes.
But we just want you to follow us on all social media, Race in the Races on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. You know, Race in the Races on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Follow the page to get all the information. Bagen numéro téléphone pour m'bay, Siren a régler toute bagay immigration pour vous, mais Castor a aidé avec toute bagay financière, Madame Lise avocat qui a aidé avec power of attorney, guardianship, so you'll get tout ça en contrôle. Celle ça m'a demandé, follow me sur social media pour que je une information ça, nous gagne enregistré dans toute vidéo et puis gagne l'autre information ou abjen sur page là.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Encore, n'a dit merci avec pasteur local là, qui c'est Reverend Jones, et qui n'a 4900 West Hallandale Beach Boulevard, Pembroke Park, Florida. Thank you so very much for opening your doors and allowing us to do this. Nous disons merci avec tout le monde qui est venu partager partagez, partagez. Thank you
Share.
so much.
Share.
Information.
Share the
So we're
information.
gonna have questions, we're gonna do a question and answer, but I'm gonna stop the live feed because of an experience we had at the last one. So we're gonna thank you all for watching, like, share, subscribe to the page. Thank you all for watching and have a good night. We'll do the Q&A for the people in person.
Peace.
Bye.
Yes, and know your rights cards for everyone.